Hey, Shalom Markins, Rakam Akapash from Jim Islam, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Chachwadash. Want to give double honors unto the elders of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful elect, pushing his truth and all sincerity. Back again with a video. I got this article here from the Sun, and this is just confirmation of Esau's endeavors, his plans, his schemes, right? And what he's trying to do is kind of strip everything away from you and kind of lock you down into specific areas, and they're always doing these trial runs and blah 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 blah, in all these different places, not just here in the UK, but in other places in the earth, but the latest one here in the UK is speaking about the city of Birmingham. Okay. And it's funny, right? Because these men are meant to be bankrupt and all these types of things, but they got all these initiatives and these plans going on. I wonder, if that's got anything to do with it, or if they have the money to even do it. But obviously, Esau's plans is to, the WF, they came out and said that you will own nothing, right, and be happy, and they're trying to make it sound like this is good for everybody. And although it may be good for some, some people might agree and, might be happy about it, right? The majority of people are not going to be happy about this, and these types of things being implemented and being forced upon the people, all right? And like I said, they're just trying to strip you down to nothing, to make you completely reliant on the government, and in due time, okay, that's all going to, lead to the MOTB. And when you're in that vulnerable position and you can't fend for yourself, right? The only place you can turn to is the government, and the government going to tell you, well, you need to do this, you need to take this, you need to go here, right? And you have no choice. You can't say, well, I'm not going to go do that, because how else are you going to survive? How are you going to get your food and your water and your medicines and all these types of your protection? Where are you going to get that from? Right, so these are all moves to make you more vulnerable, to have you locked into certain places. All right, so let's get into the article, right? So it says, end of the road. Major UK city could ban cars as radical plans redesigns roads to give priority to people rather than private vehicles, right? And so they've separated people from vehicles, but people drive vehicles, right? Multiple people drive vehicles, so it's this isn't like the type of we're doing it for the people, but yeah, but there's people that drive cars that you're just kind of fucking them up. It's not like, oh, this is gonna be great for everybody. It's not like that. All right. So public vehicles, i.e. buses, public transport, things like this, they'll still be moving around. Trucks and shit, but people and their cars, no, you can't drive through the city, right? Like I said, it's gonna make things like owning a vehicle very difficult or pretty much impossible, nonsensical to own a car, and that's part of the WF agenda. You own nothing. They don't want you to own a car. Because they want the net zero carbon emissions thing, and that's in the way. So that's all gotta go. They get to keep their toys and their jets and all that shit, but no, you gotta, your shit's gotta go. All right. So anyway, it says the plans come as part of an initiative that envisions road safety. So they're using road safety as an excuse or reason why this should be done. Because they're going to go about how so many people get killed every day by cars and all that. When in reality, it's not really that much. There's far greater risks on the earth, that people are dying to, that are not being addressed. But they're going to make it sound like it's such an issue that it needs to be addressed, and so we need to get rid of these cars. Okay, where it may be a small issue or an issue of some sort. But like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What thing are you gonna attack next? Because if your goal is to like bring net death to zero, that's impossible. So what are you gonna go after next? It's just a cascading thing, right? So So yeah, it envisions road safety, security, and greater happiness for pedestrians in Birmingham. How does this really bring greater happiness? There's no real statistic for that, or why that would be the case, you know? So Birmingham could become the first major city in the UK to ban private cars as it attempts to prioritise people. The bold new road safety strategy is being considered as a way to cut the number of collisions. This is, the reason, right, leading to deaths and serious injuries, because it must be so crazy and so bad. Why don't you? I'm pretty sure there's other things you need to be tackling before that. But anyway, the draft document suggests that drivers could be prohibited for taking trips through Birmingham city centre. Vehicles would still be able to drive into the city, but would have to go back out using the surrounding ring road to access other areas. So they're going to grid you off. District 13 and Hunger Games, that type of shit. All right. So under the plans, roads throughout the city would also be redesigned to make them more hospitable to people, which I'm assuming that just means bigger sidewalks or whatever, greener areas and all that stuff, right? Whilst also discouraging the use of private vehicles, right, to make it hard, right? The council also considering introducing a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit in residential streets, rerouting the A38 and using the city's tunnels for public transport only. And that 20-mile-an-hour thing, man, that's boy. Anyone that's driven on a 20-mile-an-hour road, man, that's painful. It's painful, man. And they got the speed cameras set up to make sure they find you when you go over the limit and all that kind of stuff. It's really fucking bogus, man. So logistics and services vehicles will still be given permanent access to city centre, thereby reducing the number of casualties on the streets of Birmingham, as the roads will be given priority to people rather than private vehicles. For the people. The strategy has been welcomed with open arms by road safety campaigners, right? So I say Esau's got all these different fucking organizations set up around the world, and to rally the causes behind these things, to further to push their agendas, man. So they get people that are recognized, these organizations that are recognized in fighting for this and fighting for that. We got one here wanting to get rid of cars. So they're over the moon. Of course, they've been set up. That's the goal. So the strategy has been welcomed with open arms by road safety campaigners who have expressed their hope that it will help create a safer, healthier, and happier city. I still don't really see how this would be the case. I mean, you got all kind of fucking shit going on in Birmingham, gang-related crimes and all that kind of shit. I don't know how removing cars is going to make everyone happier and safer. Aside from those people that get taken out by cars and that, but takes two to tango, as they say, right? Matt McDonald and Martin Price, who chaired the campaign group Better Streets for Birmingham, said, "We welcome this bold new road safety strategy with open arms." Yeah, I bet you do. At its heart is the crucial target of Vision Zero, right? Meaning no one should be killed or seriously injured in road traffic collisions, right? So that's their goal, right? It's a crazy goal. No one to die by car, right? Because cars are so dangerous, man. I'd like to see the actual numbers. I don't reckon it's that high, but apparently it's an issue. It's a major issue that they need to sort out. I wonder how many people would die from just like falling over, things like this. Like, what are you gonna do next? Like, people are dangerous anyway, to themselves and to others, if they're in a car or not in a car, right? But if you're gonna go zero deaths on the cars, you might go zero death on everything, But it's just not a possible thing. It's not a possible feat. Shit happens. Most sides judgment goes out, man. You can't prevent death. But it says, having engaged with communities across Birmingham, we know this focus will be welcomed, as too many lives have been lost and futures ruined in avoidable tragedies on our roads. So the strategy promises prioritizes people with fewer vehicles, more welcoming streets, and great opportunities to travel amongst them by foot, bike, or bus. Yeah, that's great, isn't it? Got fucking shit ton of shopping you need to carry back. None of these transports are fucking working that well. This will create a safer, healthier, and happier city. We will do everything we can to help the council match their vision with delivery to make it happen. There's a vision. That's being implemented. Okay, the council don't come up with their own fucking vision. Okay, it's passed on down to them. you know, local governments and shit, right? This is so look. That's pretty much the point. That's pretty much it, right? So, like I said, it's just a plan to box people in and just strip freedoms away from people. And you can blame the WF for that, the elites, right? And so I'm going to get this from Micah 2:1. It says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds." Right? These elites that are working behind the scenes, coming up with all these plans, which the Most High have given to me on the left-hand side. Right? They're always scheming away, right? This is when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand, because they have the power, they're in the rulership. These global organizations that are taking the forefront of policies and things like that, and implementing them into these nations, man. These men themselves are not a part of any nation, right? They're not elected, they're not they're not run no country, but they're dictating to countries what they should be doing. All right. It says they covet fields and take them by violence, right? But they covet everything, not just fields. I mean, they already own all the lands, but they want to take your cars away. They want to take your ability to generate money away. They want to take everything, man. They're not happy with you, doing things for yourselves. They want to strip it all away from you, and they want to control all resources. And this is what everything, moving into the digital age is all about. Digital currencies, tokenization. That's all so they can control every minute piece of resource out there, man. So you have no control over no resources at all. They don't want you to control nothing, have no control over anything. All right. So then take them by violence, which the violence is going to come, right? And houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. All this is really oppression. Oppression is what they were scheming, All this is really just oppression, and more ways to oppress. Okay? This is Psalm 64 verse 5. It says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter, right? Because they have the ambition to rule over the earth in complete control, right? With the help of their technology, okay, with the MOTB, right, to enslave the whole earth and the people on it. All right, it says they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily, right? So it's in the guise of something good, and people are either for it or against it. Because obviously you got protesters protesting this, but you got these organizations that welcome it with open arms, right? So some people are being convinced by this. Some people are seeing it for what it is, or they just don't want to be inconvenienced, right? But a lot of it is going unnoticed, right? It's going unawares, right? They're laying the snares privately, unbeknownst to the majority of the people on the earth, because they got you thinking they're out here trying to fight global warming or some shit, or they're trying to prevent deaths. So they seem like noble missions that these elite are on, these men are on, but it's not about that all. All right, it's about your enslavement, right? So they in commune of laying snares privily, they say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. Right, so they're always putting a scheme in and coming up with ways to supplant the people, to confuse the people, and to have them walk into their own destruction, essentially. All right. This is Sirach chapter 12, verse 10, says, never trust thine enemy. Okay, and Esau is the enemy of life in general, right? He's the enemy to everybody, right? He shouldn't be trusted by nobody, right? He hasn't proven himself trustworthy. Okay. So never trust thine enemy, for like iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, it never disappears. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with his sins, who will pity? For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth had to throw thee into a pit. Right, like I said, so he's out here talking like he's trying to help. He's trying to benefit the people. We need to prioritize people and not vehicles, and all this shit. All right. So he will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help, right? It's all fake. Everything that he's doing or why he's saying he's doing it is all fake. Right? Though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. Okay, because he's setting up a trap for you. That's him undermining you. He's getting these things put in place for your own demise. Right? He will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance. Right? Because you've been fooled. And once he's got you, he can be who he really is. He can, open himself up to you, man. Show himself that, show you his real self, the devil that he really is. This is 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and sword in their hands. Right? This is going to cause conflict and, destabilization in these nations, and all these, things that are going on in it. Right? And it's going to become real bad. Right? It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Right? So it said things are going to get so bad, things are going to get out of control. Right? People are going to rise up against the governments and against each other. So a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Right? They're going to desire to go into a city, but things are not going to be how they are now, where you can just drive in there. Because obviously they're looking at redesigning roads and putting making these smart cities and that kind of stuff. It's not going to be easy, and because of all the chaos and all the panic, they're going to be set up martial law. So you're going to have troops at checking points and that kind of stuff. You ain't just be able to go into a city, man. Right? That is going to be a very perilous thing to try and do. All right. It says, for because of their pride, and the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Right. So when this whole society collapses, right, and people find it hard to get food, finding it hard to get anything. Right. The pressure is really on the people. Right. And they've got nowhere to turn because they've been stripped of everything. They've been stripped of everything that they own. Right, they can't just move around freely. They can't just up and leave, and they got no means to do that. Right, they have to rely on the government for everything. Right, so you're gonna turn to the government for your to sustain you, man. Right, but there's gonna be caveats when that time comes. Maybe not right from the beginning, but there's gonna be caveats, right, for you to receive aid, to receive help. Right. And that's when the MOTB is going to become that tool that is going to, be implanted in people that is going to enslave you essentially, man, and get you destroyed. Okay, by the judgment of the Heavenly Father, man. So this is where where it all goes. This is yeah, that's what I wanted. So I'm going to grab this from Genesis 47 verse 18, right? Because it's the same sort of scenario that's going to take place, right? Verse 18, it says, when the year was ended, they came unto him the second year, which is during the famine in Egypt, right? And said unto him, we will not hide it from my Lord, that how that our money is spent. My Lord also have our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my Lord, right? So they've taken everything away from you, right? You can't afford to run cars, or there's no point running cars now. So you sold your car, you sold this, you can't drive it nowhere. You know, fuel's gone through the fucking roof, so you can't afford to put petrol in the car. Like, you know, it's gonna affect people on different levels, man. They have, you know, depending on how much money you have or all that kind of stuff. But you're all gonna be brought down low. Something's gonna come, you know, eventually it's gonna become too much for everybody. You know, and nobody's gonna be able to roll around in cars and shit, right? So yeah, he's still gonna take everything from you, right? So there is not aught left in the sight of my Lord but our bodies and our lands, right? You ain't got no lands anyway, so don't worry about that part. But your bodies, that's all you're gonna have left. Your persons, man, your labor, right? Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land, and buy us and our land for bread? Okay, put us to work. So, you know, basically, you know, so that we can eat. You know, it's not like necessarily Esau's going to utilize you necessarily, but, you know, he going to make you take that MLTB, right? Because that will be the conditions, right? To buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, right? So once you take the MLTB, man, you're going to be an eternal indentured servant to Esau, right? Eternally, right? Until one's death, right? You gonna be, he gonna be your master, man, right? That's what it's gonna be, man. You're gonna be bonded to Esau and to his every will, right? Because he's gonna have the power to control you, right? With all things, because he's gonna have everything and you're gonna have nothing. Okay, again, WEF, you will have nothing, right? They will have everything, right? But you will have nothing. And, you know, you're gonna be happy because you're gonna be fucking drugged up and shit, like equilibrium. You know, because, you know, copium, that's what you're gonna be given, copium, to smile and shit, because shit gonna be shit, man. You ain't gonna enjoy those days, right? But don't worry, they got the drugs for you, right? It's funny, I was watching Spiderhead last night because the brother recommended it to me a little while back, quite a while back. And I was watching it last night, man, how they were fucking with messing around with the drugs, innit, and making you feel all different kinds of ways, and, you know, how they could manipulate and control that, you know. And so, yeah, man, they got drugs like that, you know, control how you feel, you know, what you see. Yeah, like, yeah, Esau wants you in a fucking VR world, bro. You know what I mean? Like, whether you jacked up to a computer because, you know, you had the what they call that, the metaverse, right? You had the metaverse, you know, you just live in the metaverse, some shit. But if you don't want to live in the metaverse, don't worry, you can just take drugs, man, and just pretend you just spaz out on the sofa, man. Just, you know, like these guys on fucking Spice, you know, just spaz out, zoned out, man. You know, fentanyl and shit. Anyway, moving on with this, right? It says, yeah, and give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, and for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them. So the land became Pharaoh's, right? So this time of trouble that we keep talking about, you know, is going to prevail over the people, and they're going to turn to the rulers, i.e. the governments, and accept his mark, accept slavery, right, in order to eat, right? That's where it's going to end up, right? And like I said, all these are steps and they're movements in order to, you know, get you in this position. Okay. I'm going to close out with this. Revelations 13 and 15 says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, right? So you don't like the idea of this new system, you know, they're not going to give you too many choices. Right? You either accept it or you get put to death. You either take that mark or you get put to death, right? You can have two options. There isn't a third. You know, you might think, oh, I'm gonna rebel and fight. Yeah, okay, good luck with that. You know, and maybe you'll get by for a little while. But he saw, you know, he saw a cunning hunter, man. He'll come down and hunt you down, man. All right, or you're gonna starve to death. You know, whatever the outcomes are gonna be, right? Verse 60, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Right, so that mark, the MOTB, is coming. right? And that's going to be distributed in that time of trouble, man. Okay? And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? So without it, you're not going to be able to access anything, right? But the only reason why he's even able to offer bring that in, and you have to consider it because you haven't got anything, and they have everything, or they have more than what you do. They have access to food because they're going to confiscate the food and the fuel, and you're probably not getting fuel. Let's be honest. Then that'd be used for the militaries and whatever. But because you don't need a car, you don't need the fuel, right? So don't worry about it. But yeah, just food and medicines and things like that. They're gonna have the storehouses and the warehouses, under their control, and so you can only go to them to get it. Right, and you ain't coming in, or you ain't purchasing, or you ain't getting what they call that. I don't want to use the word ration, but you have not been assigned, or you won't be assigned any food or water without this mark, without this MOTB, without this micro C-HIP. So it's going to be a must if you want to operate in their system, right? The alternative, like I said, there's only two options: is that you a fugitive, man. You're a rebellious anarchist. That needs to be put to death. All right. So I'm gonna end it there. Lord willing, this has been edifying, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. So till next time, I say shalom.